Good morning, Eugenetics. Good morning. Today is a very nice day. The sun came out, the rains are gone, and we can go out or work in the garden. Now, in our past readings last week, we talked about paranormal incidents that happened to me. And we will continue with these paranormal readings. We are now on reading number 28. The Baguio City crash of Philippine Airlines. No dream had given me goosebumps than the dream I had about a Philippine Airlines crash in the city of Baguio, specifically right before landing, which is Benguet. The flight came from Manila Domestic Airport going to Loacan Airport in Baguio. While this was happening, we were flying to Honolulu. We just arrived in Honolulu when the captain told the crew that there was an accident actually, involving a Philippine Airlines aircraft in Baguio. It was a PR 206, Philippine Airlines 206. The date was June 26, 1987. It crashed into Mount Ugong in Benguet due to bad weather, killing all 50 passengers, including the crew. We learned of the particulars when we reached the arrival area in Honolulu, where the ground staff narrated to us the details of that doomed Baguio flight. The flight was from Manila to Baguio. The aircraft used was a small Hawker Siddeley 748 or HS 748, or very popularly called Avro. Avro to the crew. It was when the complete list of passengers was given to us that those goosebumps suddenly crept into me. There was no survivor in that crash. I saw familiar names in the passenger manifest. Some were friends and colleagues. It was the name of the captain that triggered those goosebumps. I remembered a dream I had 2 years before that accident happened. In my dream, I was already a flight steward. And in the same dream, I was in our province vacationing for my annual leave. I was taking my normal noontime siesta in my dream. It was a very unusual dream inside a dream. There I was sleeping in the second floor of our house. I was awakened by a very loud and familiar sound of an aircraft engine. I awoke in my dream, still dreaming, and looked out the window. This is inside this dream. I saw a big airplane through the window going down. It was a huge 747 Boeing aircraft. Then I heard a loud crash, followed by a deafening explosion. I wiped my eyes when I woke up and ran down. No, this is still a dream. I wiped my eyes in that dream and ran down and out of the house. People were now milling in the streets, shouting and crying. I started walking to where the airplane finally crash landed. It was in the Catholic cemetery 500 meters from our house. The witnesses claimed it was really a jumbo Boeing 747 that crash landed in that cemetery. All passengers and crew were able to escape. So this is still the dream. In that dream, I was jubilant that there was no fatality. But that was a dream. And I did not even remember it at that time. No, not yet. As I was able to get hold of the lengthy computer printout of the passenger and crew manifest of this Baguio flight, I saw the names Bishop Bienvenido Tuntun. She was the Archbishop of Marawi. I knew him because he was from Cebu. The names of my colleagues came out. Cabin crew Hope Nerisina and Isabel Sarasola pinched a nerve in me. They were there included. The first officer in that flight who also perished was Mario Bonoan. He was a flight steward who entered the flying school. I knew him. They were all friends of mine. At this point, I still was unable to recall the dream I had 2 years before this accident happened. It was the name of the captain in that flight in Baguio, Captain Bustamante, that triggered my dream recall. And it came very clear and fast, like a dam whose gate valve was released for overflow. If it is true that, according to folk belief, all dreams are supposed to be read the opposite way, then my dream made sense. In my dream, the aircraft was a huge jumbo Boeing 747, Series 400. In reality, it was a small HS-748 with a passenger capacity of less than 50. In my dream, all passengers survived. In reality, there was no survivor. However, there were two common elements which were both in my dream and in reality. The Catholic cemetery in my dream, where the Boeing 747 finally stopped, is actually true in reality. 500 meters away from our house, there is a cemetery that still exists up to now. But that was not the trigger. It was the name of Captain Bustamante. Captain Bustamante was in my dream, and he was in that accident also. And the dream happened 2 years before the Baguio incident. When I arrived in Manila, the first thing I did was to review the newspapers, to search for a picture of Captain Bustamante. I remembered him. I had flown with him several times in my domestic years. If, according to superstitions, I narrated to Captain Bustamante my dreams, would it have made a difference? To the superstitious, perhaps yes. But to me, who has a training in theology, it would not matter. But how do we explain the occurrence of the captain's name both in my dream 2 years before that and in the Baguio accident? Let us leave it all to God, genetics. We don't have to explain everything in this life. That's where faith in a loving God who knows our future really comes in. Eugenetics. I'm sad for the accident and for the passengers and friends involved in the Baguio accident. Let us say a little prayer in our heart, and let us always be conscious wherever we are, walking in the streets, driving, in the ship, inside the cabin of the airplane. Let's always be safety conscious. So Eugenetics, let us end it there. Let's wait for Wednesday. Have a good day. The sun is up. I love you, Eugenetics.